Okay, so we're talking motivation today.
Yeah.
But we're going deep.
Deeper than deep.
Yeah, like really deep.
Deep, deep dive.
Exactly, like we're going to crack open the hood of your brain.
That's a good way to put it.
See what makes you tick when it comes to
Getting things done.
achieving stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
drive. That's motivation.
So we've got this excerpt we're going to dig into.
Really interesting stuff. All about the science behind it.
The science.
Yeah.
Perfect for like
Anyone who wants to understand
how it works.
not just what it is.
Right, because you hear motivation all the time.
Oh, yeah, like a buzzword.
But then it's like, okay, but how do I actually get motivated?
Then how do you stay motivated?
Exactly. By the end of this, you'll have a way better grasp on that whole...
System.
Yeah, and some practical tips, too.
Oh, yeah, tons of good stuff.
Okay, so let's jump in.
Let's do it.
So dopamine, right?
Always got to start with dopamine.
That's like the superstar.
It really is.
Every time I'm like scrolling on my phone.
Dopamine. Dopamine.
Right. But what's the real deal with dopamine and motivation?
Okay, so it's not just about pleasure.
Okay.
It's about the anticipation.
Ooh.
Like you're looking forward to something good.
Okay.
And that anticipation, that's what drives you toward a goal.
So it's like that little...
Spark.
Yeah, that gets you going.
It keeps it going.
But here's the thing, right? Different rewards.
Different dopamine responses.
Totally. Like I'm thinking a big piece of cake versus...
Finishing a huge project.
Yeah. Or like running a marathon.
Exactly. So a quick hit of sugar.
Like that cake.
Yeah, you get that quick dopamine spike.
Okay.
But working towards something big, something long-term,
That marathon.
the dopamine release is different.
So it's not just about getting those dopamine hits.
Right.
It's about getting the right tea kind.
That lead to that lasting satisfaction.
Okay, so how does that tie into the whole motivation process?
All right, so picture this. You've got a desire.
Like a goal.
Yes, a goal you want to achieve, and that desire.
That kickstarts everything.
Exactly. It triggers the action,
The effort you put in,
the work, the grind.
and then finally
with me?
you get that
So
satisfaction.
achieving that goal.
So it's like this loop.
It is.
Almost like an addiction.
Not a good one.
Exactly. You get that hit, you want more.
And you set your sights on the next goal.
It all makes sense now.
Right.
But then how can people get stuck sometimes?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like they're not reaching those goals.
So sometimes it's because they're chasing those quick dopamine hits.
Yes.
Like those easy rewards.
So then it's hard to stay motivated for the
Big stuff.
stuff that takes real effort.
Exactly.
So how do we break free from that then?
Okay, so one strategy,
Hit me with it.
break those big goals down.
Into smaller ones.
Yes, more achievable steps.
Okay, I'm listening.
Remember how we talked about the different types of dopamine responses?
Yeah.
If you're only focused on the end goal,
That big, massive goal.
right, that reward feels super far away.
And it's harder to get that dopamine flowing.
But if you have smaller milestones along the way,
You get those dopamine hits more often.
and that keeps you going.
Makes sense.
Wow.
So instead of trying to climb Mount Everest all at once,
You set up base camps along the way,
I love that analogy.
and each time you reach a base camp,
Celebrate.
yes, acknowledge that win.
Savor it.
That reinforces that positive cycle.
Your brain's like, hey, this
Yeah.
effort is leading to good things.
Exactly.
So I'm picturing someone working on a huge project.
Okay.
They hit a milestone.
Yes.
They don't just
No, we take a moment,
maybe grab their favorite coffee. Yeah, whatever it is.
and just be like, yes, I did that.
That little celebration.
It's like a deposit in your motivation bank.
I like that.
Right.
But what about when you're just stuck in a rut?
Oh, yeah.
No motivation.
That happens.
How do we get that engine going again?
Sometimes you got to take a step back.
Okay.
Look at the bigger picture.
Like zoom out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why did you set this goal in the first place?
What's the passion behind it?
Reconnecting with that intrinsic motivation.
That's powerful.
It really is.
So it's about remembering the why.
Yes, the why behind the what.
And I think also being mindful of your environment.
Oh, that's huge.
Are you surrounded by negativity?
Are you constantly bombarded with news?
Or people who just drain your energy
That can really impact your dopamine levels.
and your overall motivation?
Big time.
It's like trying to run a marathon,
Okay.
but you're carrying a backpack full of rocks.
Oh, man.
You might make some progress,
You'll get there eventually.
but it's going to be so much harder.
So lighten that load.
Surround yourself with
Positive influences.
people and experiences that energize you.
That's the key.
Fuel your motivation.
Make the journey enjoyable.
Okay, so we've gone deep
Deep dive.
into the mechanics of motivation.
Dopamine strategies.
What's the big takeaway?
Motivation.
Yeah.
It's not some magical force.
You either have or you don't.
It's a process.
And you can influence it.
Absolutely, by understanding how it works.
in your brain.
You can cultivate it.
Steer yourself towards those goals.
That really matter.
So it's not just about getting more dopamine.
Right.
It's about getting the right kind
In the right way.
to fuel the actions,
That lead to...
lasting fulfillment.
And that's something everyone can do.
Absolutely. And you start seeing those successes
Those moments.
where your efforts pay off.
That creates a positive feedback loop.
It gets easier to stay motivated.
More enjoyable, too.
And that's an inspiring thought.
Right.
We've given you the tools.
It's up to you to build something amazing.
What's your next mountain to climb?
What's that goal you're working towards?
We're excited for you.
We are.
Until next time.
Keep that motivation going.